Okay, well, were they actually caught 3 times, or was it just
4 times?
were they
4 times.
witnessed?
4 times with 5 guns. Yeah. Arrest.
That wasn't that wasn't the issue though.
When was the last time they were caught with one?
The issue was there was 3 reports, 1 weapon on the 16th, and then 2 separate reports on the 17th, and then he used a 4th report on the 28th. The issue was,
bro, this is I'm
Miller
already
was trying
triggered.
to say that he created a pattern.
Bro, you can't just make up random shit. You can't resolve this. You can't resolve it by just making up bullshit in your head and arguing over bullshit that doesn't exist. How is there still confusion over this? How many times do we need to talk about this and it's still misrepresented?
2 days ago and then 3 days ago, there's 3 incidents from.
No, I'm feel like this is a waste of time. It's like, are people in outer space when they're having conversations? I don't get it.
So it was 3 weeks. I mean, it's 4 incidences, 5 guns.
Like it literally feels like people are in outer space.
I think we need to.
That's the problem.
That they're currently there too, right? So that he has a history. So if we did this maybe on the 3rd incident directly after. You know, that might be a different story, right?
If he hadn't have put the report number for the 28th, given the 2-week gap, they would have signed it.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't be. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I think that
only because the topic came up, and it's important that these details are heard completely, because the amount of misrepresentation for a lot of this genuinely is pissing me the fuck off to a huge degree. Good thing all the high commands here. I know Jimbo's on the way. 3 days ago,
did you talk to him?
I speak with who? Jimbo?
Yeah, Jimbo, he didn't pick up for me. Okay.
Did he go off duty?
Oh, that's right. He was on duty.
No, he went off duty. All right. So 3 days ago, Miller pulled me aside at Grove Street gas station. His words verbatim were as follows. Not, what do you think about these raids? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about any raids. And he then told me the following. That there was a shootout with the ADMC in which 5 individuals went down. And after which he was instructed by Davenport to find a reason to raid the ADMC. That right there is bad faith. If you start looking through reports, and this is the first problem that's not even in the warrant, if you start looking in reports for a reason to raid someone over retaliatory reasons, that is not fucking police work. That is fucking illegal. First and foremost. Secondly, as for the reason for the denial, which was written, and Miller did a good fucking job writing it up, okay? But he was instructed poorly by somebody to do something that should never be done. We are law enforcement, first and foremost. When that warrant was written, it was denied. The reason for it was a 2-week gap. And just like the justice is rightfully saying, if there is no pattern, if there is no articulation for probable cause, it don't matter if it's 3, it don't matter if it's 5. That's not articulating any kind of charge in San Andreas. Now, the reason I'm a little, I'm raising my voice here is because I want this loud and clear, because the amount of times that this entire situation has been misrepresented tells me that we cannot, if we do not hear conversations and properly explain what the issues are, there ain't no solving no problems. Excuse me for raising my voice, but that is the situation right there. Number one, I'm confused why a member of our law enforcement, and I know Miller's trying to do his fucking best, and that man has put so many hours into writing those warrants. And I genuinely am questioning, why is it that he's being instructed to do such a thing, and it's being about why is it denied? Well, why did it happen in the first place?
So there's more to it. I spoke to King this morning, like I mentioned we needed to do, because King was actually the initial one to start the investigation on ADMC, not Davenport. King, prior to them being shot or whatever Davenport or Miller is claiming.
So why isn't he?
Asked Miller to
Miller's
look
writing
into
the
ADMC
warrant
and pull together anything he could. Because of the threats and things that have been happening. They have signs saying we'll shoot cops if they drive through. And all of those reports are tied to the search warrant for Shang. I guess.
Oh my Lord.
Point,
what does that have to do with
officers
anything?
were being hunted. Officers.
No, they weren't.
They tried to blow up officers in a police cruiser. So there was more to it. So Miller not being able to articulate to a judge is just Miller still learning how to do these things. He's very new at writing search warrants. He does a great fucking job.
So then why the fuck isn't King writing
been
it?
there with him to explain to the judge the rest of the reasons for the search warrant and where the gap is actually filled, things were happening with these reports. Because he even told me today that for some reason those things were ignored. Hey, Radich.
By Miller?
Miller told me that the judge did not pay. The judge only paid attention to the gaps in the guns when that is not even the whole reason they were even raiding Shank. There's multiple reports tied to the incident, and King told me right in here 20 minutes ago that he is the one that asked Miller to do research on. It was a task he gave Miller to do research on ADMC and start looking into them. And this is what he came up with, the four search warrants. So it was not in malice. It was not on dog shit police work. It was not just because they have class 2s and shoot cops all day. There was a lot more to it.
Okay, this is
Miller brought this to me too, to ask me for some advice.
Bro,
that they hadn't been signed.
Maxwell gets so fucking cooked, it's insane.
I told him, well, he mentioned
she literally just underlined it was retaliatory
on a property saying that we'll shoot cops,
and all of that came in the second writing of the warrant. Like,
even with
it's so brain dead.
I question, how
genuinely
can we articulate signs on private property to?
I mean,
you can't just say
okay,
you can't.
Okay, we can all speculate. None of us are the primaries, and I'm going to be honest. I don't want to stand here in a circle.
So let's
and
bring
talk
King
about
in.
it.
Let's bring King in.
I didn't even finish.
If we want to discuss this topic, let's bring in King and hear it straight.
Energy was the same last night, and I'm hearing it again.
No, it wasn't.
Well, okay, but I'm saying you're upset, which I understand, because we think that it was in malice, which I was upset. And I said, well, I don't think King would do that. And you mentioned Davenport, and honestly, I don't think Davenport would be like that. So either Miller misspoke on something, or Miller shouldn't have said something the way he did. King stood here and told me, I told him to look into ADMC.
Holy fucking
I was the one wanting them investigated. I initiated everything. And there's a lot more to it than just them being arrested with guns. And he started pointing out, he said, all the incidents are right there. If people would actually just read the fucking MDT and see these are the incidents that are tied to it that have been happening. ADMC have been targeting cops for days and days.
Okay, with all due respect there, Maxwell, Miller's the one who wrote the warrant. Miller's the one that came to me. Miller's the one that came to Frost over here, right?
Okay.
And he brought up the concern to us, right? And after having done so, we went to LSPD directly. We didn't go target him or anything like that, whatever, right? And so the energy I'm giving now is not because, first off, that energy did not come yesterday. That was some other shit, which we haven't even opened up. But it was brought to LSPD high command attention so y'all could look into it, right? And I recognized at the time we needed to go speak to the other party. Well, that other party ain't here, right? So, you know, in the same vein, at the end of the day, Miller wrote that thing, and some of the things that you listed off were not even in the warrant to begin with. That warrant's been rewritten twice now, right? And the things that happened after that does not change the fact that Miller, the person that is writing the warrant, verbatim said it happened because of a shootout, and he was told to go look for something in the MDT. That's an issue, right? If we're going back in time and saying, well, let's come up with another reason as to why we should look into him, that's still bad faith regardless. You know what I mean? And as for the signs that were up at ADMC block or the whole tow incident yesterday, that happened after the warrant was submitted, right? Now,
no, the signs, they've been putting signs up for the last month there.
Yeah,
So-
they've been there for ages.
There you go.
They've been blocking them. It's because we'll go through chases. Yeah, that's like super early in the morning. It generally doesn't happen this shift. After storm, you don't see them until late at night again. I do, regardless, the whole Davenport thing, like I
Can
don't
you
know.
speak up, Piers?
Yeah, the whole Davenport thing. I mean, if that is the case, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, Brian. I'm not doubting you, but Brian's 100% right in that it's textbook bad faith, you know.
And I agree with that. But King just stood here and told me that is not what happened. So that's all I'm saying.
I think the problem is
we need to talk to King.
One is what's being written, and another is the intent. The written part is what everyone's saying. The intent is different that King's putting forth. I think there's
King isn't writing the warrant,
at the very least. Because if he's writing for guns, but that's not the intent what King was trying to put forth, then obviously we have an issue, right?
Okay.
I don't think I'm understanding what you're saying, because I mean, if they're threatening to shoot cops, then I think it is like you could articulate.
They weren't. They weren't though.
I'm gonna defer to what Brian said, and I definitely think if we're looking for a reason to raid them, and they're just like, fuck it, let's raid them, because we want to. That's just bad faith.
King maybe I can like summarize this. King may have in his mind a really good reason to raid individuals, right? However, when that is then deferred to Miller, whether it's miscommunication, whatever it is, Miller, as the writer of it, providing that perception, that becomes the problem. It you know what I mean? Like, and if if King is assisting and he's got articulation, that needs to be communicated to the writer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is the other thing that's odd, right? When he'd come to me at night, he'd said that he'd wrote 4 search warrants for 4 individuals in the ADMC, right? We said that it's very important that you don't do this on your own and you get help. Is anyone helping you with this? And he straight up said,
sorry,
to Miller, and he straight up said, no, I'm doing this on my own. And that's where the other side of confusions come from. Like,
he was
if King
tasked
was
with it.
You can't just.
King just told me that he tasked Miller with this because he's looking at him being a sergeant. So he gave him this task to look into ADMC. That is what he just stood here and told me.
Look, I think
what's happening in a little bit is we're mixing up malicious with just retaliation. Technically, every warrant rewrite is technically retaliation because it comes off the back of things that happen, i.e., being shot down, multiple things like that.
Hold on.
I think that what King was doing was giving him a task, but I believe that Miller may have thought it was because of in a malicious way. I think it's just it's miscommunication, it's confusion. I don't understand why Miller was working alone. I ended up helping him with some of them yesterday, so he has had support. But it sounds like a miscommunication on what was the intent was, and then what actually occurred.
Listening, I just need a minute.
I need you to. Is it worthwhile bringing King in here? I mean, listen, I'm good with honestly, I'm personally good with, like, at the end of the day, right? Like, this is, you know, really depends on what, like, you know, what the, I'm looking to look past this, to be honest. You know what I mean? But you know, if we want full understanding,
is my question.
I mean,
are we preventing this from happening again?
Well, I mean, this is another thing we spoke about, right? Like, contextually, if, for example, the ADMC
I'm so over this conversation.
Why has none of this been done with any of the ADMC in custody? For example, you arrest Shang, he has a class 2, you then go through the reports, you build a pattern, you have him in custody, boom, right? And if this
like
is
this is
happening
just
as often
like
as stated,
pure
why
misrepresentation.
we
Why the
done that?
fuck is King being? If this is an
There's always
issue in
gonna be a
high
catalyst
command,
as to
why
you
do these
listen to it,
people
right?
not understand
I
that
think
bring
that
him in instead of fucking
this whole
playing
situation
telephone?
probably could have been prevented by having
It's so frustrating.
King write that warrant.
It's
but
so
at the same
frustrating.
Time, I understand
Holy
what he was
shit.
trying to do. Probably should have been maybe a bit more involved with the warrant writing there, articulation.
The thing is, as well, Miller's work was great. Like it is a very solid job that he's done, and you can tell he's put a lot of hours in.
I think the only thing I'm going to take away from this is that when we are giving these, and I understand it was a test for sergeants, but these people who are writing these bigger warrants, these bigger guns, they really do need someone with some oversight over it. It's going to overwhelming quickly. And I think this is the second time.
Yeah, this
in a
is just
situation where
like
someone's been given a set of warrants to write, but they felt that they had no support. And then they they fumbled a little bit and they panicked or they got overwhelmed.
What was the first incident? Or
I don't-
first time that happened?
Like, why is he being set up
it
to
might have been
fail?
Miller the first time when I helped him with,
if Maxwell wants to speak? I don't know why she also wants to
Yeah,
play
besties.
someone's like loudspeaker. She barely can like contain. With all due respect, Maxwell can only retain like 30% of a conversation, and then it's filled with bullshit, right? Which
What do you think, Maxwell?
is part of it, and it comes out like the signs and the toe, and they're attacking cops. None of that even happened.
I understand there's a gap. There's a gap.
Why aren't you just bringing
like
King
3
here?
weeks, but at the same time,
Right?
with the articulation,
Bring
saying they're
King
gonna
here.
shoot
It
cops,
can make
this
nice and
other
clear.
stuff.
Otherwise, this conversation's pointless if you're not willing to
I don't know.
look at the overall problem. You know what I
I think
mean?
if it was a different, I think if it was the other.
So
issue
Knight
we run
originally
into
got
is that I
pissed off
think,
'cause it's like,
different
holy
judges and
fuck.
justices have different
Everyone's just
standards for the warrants they
misrepresenting
sign,
everyone's
which
position to
also
begin with. Like,
makes
what the
it
fuck is the
confusing
point of the
for
conversation?
officers.
What do you mean by articulation to shoot cops, though? Because what's happening here is we're trying to articulate why they have guns in their properties, right? We're not trying to articulate that they're shooting cops.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's it. He's trying to articulate it, but I mean, he just used that as supporting evidence in his statement here.
Well, it's not, because it just creates so much fucking unnecessary drama. You know what I mean? It's like King is here. I'd like to understand, just for my own good, what if there is clearly a look, why is King not here? Why are we playing telephone? That's you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll just deal with it tomorrow. I think
Definitely need King here for it.
Yeah.
I think King explained it to myself and Maxwell. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was not completely aware of the situation, so I didn't have all the context when he was explaining it this morning. Now that I have a little bit more context, I'd like to hear it again.
I mean, if you guys want, I could email him.
Yeah, I mean, look, because here's the thing, right? And he's like, speaking on behalf of him, right? This could be something as simple as, like, playing telephone, I feel, gets us in trouble so many times. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so,
okay. Let's have a chat with King when we see him then next year. Tomorrow morning. I'd come around a bit early. We got to chat with him.
Isn't he texting him right now?
Are you texting him there?
Yeah, I sent him an email.
Okay.
Never mind. He's coming around.
He's coming around now.
Yep.
Okay. Next subject then, meanwhile. Let me come back to it. Who's got next subject?
I got one for shift 2.
Okay, go for it.
The number one thing that was brought to me while speaking to the rest of the staff on shift 2 is certs. The majority of cert leads, at least for the LSPD, and this is probably more of an LSPD, obviously tilted conversation since BCSO kind of, you guys manage your own cert overall leads and all that. The majority of those cert leads and such, and the people that can train and bring people into the different units are shift 1 based. We've been told 2 different things.
Radek's last high command meeting.
Ruby mentioned.
I understand why Radek is Radek now, because like I genuinely want Frost to be like, just put the gun in my mouth and shoot me.
Reach out to, and they said, well, you got to reach out to us.
Just put the
I've
gun
got
in my mouth. Just
people all the way
I'm
from
done.
officer
This
all
is
the way
so
up to lieutenant
fucking
that are
cooked.
frustrated with the fact
Do we
that
not
they
have
are
shift leads?
This is like
No shit.
you know,
shift
like
leads?
a failing Walmart like
well, we don't
manager
for some of
meeting.
those
You know what I mean?
units. We do for TRT. We do
Wondering
for
why, like,
air,
the-
or we don't have one
you
for
know,
air for LSPD
The
right now.
diapers
Shift
and
two.
the fucking milk ain't being sold. You know what I
Detective,
mean?
I don't believe we have a
But
lead yet,
nobody
that's a new
knows where the
unit.
milk or the fucking thing
Regardless,
is. Like it's insane.
Even when we're going to the shift leads, the overall
Like we
leads
drifted.
apparently
Here was the
are
problem.
Not receptive. We're not reaching out like they should
The
be to help
problem was here.
facilitate this onboarding. So we're having
And
a bottleneck.
then
People are not able
all
to get
this
into certs
fucking
that they're interested in.
posi-why
People are
bullshit
getting discouraged by that.
misrepresentation brings the argument over here.
and-
I mean,
So instead of
plain
arguing,
and simple, we should
like
have a list where
talking
people
about the
sign up and then
actual
they can reach out to
issue,
you.
which is
right?
what we
We're
were
now
told to do,
talking
and then
about
when
some bullshit that
the
we
people
know
on my
didn't
shift
happen.
did that, they
It's
were
all
told,
like
well, you
little
didn't tell us you were
bullshit.
interested, or
Who
you should
said
have
you
reached
didn't
out to
tell
me
us?
or that.
Name specifically.
I would have to. I know that Opal was one of the people that Ruby talked to that happened with.
Okay.
I'm not sure which cert it was over. It was a conversation between those two, but that's what Ruby brought to me. It's not just Ruby either. I talked to Oxby. I've talked to Bubba. There's been several people that have told me they've tried to get involved in
It's
different
making
certs, and they
excuses
just
for
get
bad
nothing.
decision
let's
making
talk
instead of being
specific
like,
certs.
it's not the
As
end of
for
the
air,
fucking world. It's
can you
like
talk to
fucking
Opal and get us a
quadrupling
shift 2 lead.
down and not
Right.
like,
When
I don't know.
when I
dude,
speak to
I'm
Opal,
so
she usually
fucking
tells me to talk to King. So should I talk
annoyed.
to King or should I talk to Opal?
Holy fucking
Yeah, King's
shit.
the head.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, Opal is King is
Lead.
head.
Yeah, King.
Opal's lead for shift 1. Talk to King. I'm sorry. Talk to King. You can bring it up with him in here. Let's get a shift 2 lead. And then in terms of detectives, that's going to take some time to get going. I would imagine we can have a chat with Aaron. What other cert are we have an issue with?
TRT. Quangle's the lead on that. I've spoken to Quangle, and I'm not sure if he's bringing it up the chain to Opal, and it's stopping there. I'm not sure where the ball's getting dropped there. But the conversation
Criminal possession of class 2.
They're having them, and Quangle is receptive.
Like,
but nothing
hello!
happens afterwards, from what I can tell.
Then,
Bro,
tell
why
Quangle
would
we're
you?
gonna look for a
Why?
new lead.
This
That's
is
it.
not rateable.
Well, no, I
Something
don't.
needs to happen. Right?
I don't.
We need
I,
the ball
I
rolling.
would
Like,
like to
holy
know if it's
fucking
Quangle not
shit.
doing-
Did you
I
guys
can't
even
tell you
look
that
at
it's
the
Quangle's fault,
fucking
so I don't want to
report?
sit there and jump to that kind of conclusion. He may be
Oh
passing
my
it on and the ball's being
fucking
dropped
God.
elsewhere. I don't know. But what I do want to suggest, because I'm not going to give you a problem without a solution, is I think that we
What do
should
you mean?
make a concerted effort to have.
Let's look at
and
Shangs.
I know for some people it's going to be very tough, but they decided to take the overall lead of a cert, so they need to make themselves available. I would like to have a cert lead.
Why
meeting.
would they
I'd like to
sign
get
this?
these people in one
It's
room,
already
all of the
cooked.
cert leads together at a time that's somewhere
And then
between
you
shift
literally
1 and
start
2, so
in
we can all
30
have
days.
a better plan and better communication, because I don't feel like that's happening right now, especially for my shift.
So a generic cert lead, all the cert leads.
Every overall LSPD cert lead we have to bring into a room, I think we should get all of them together and work.
And
with
there's
them
a gap
to,
of 2 weeks
to see what's going on, and also so
Brother,
they can communicate
fucking-
and further develop, between the units. Because I mean, let's see.
So
just like
okay,
detectives,
so
right,
then
we've always said
literally,
investigators are going to work closely with
literally
TRT.
Maxwell is
They're
like
gonna find
lying
the
through
door,
her
TRT
fucking
is taking
teeth.
the
This is
door.
the problem.
Air
I
should be
don't
working with
understand
everybody.
why.
Motor should be working with
It's so
everybody, and
hyper
these units
focused
are
on trying
getting
to be right instead of
fragmented and
looking
kind
at the
of,
fucking
like
facts.
left aside. I
It
think it'd be
literally
very
says
productive
at
to
the
have
top
all
of this
the
warrant,
unit leads together
30
to collaborate
days,
and try and come up with
and
ideas
then-
and other things that can further
And
themselves.
this
that
is
Can you coordinate
this
that?
is the argument in the beginning.
Okay.
And there's a 2-week
Let's put that
gap.
together,
Where's the
and let's,
confusion?
Let's have that meeting, and that'll be an LSPD one, right? Or do you want to have a joint one?
yeah.
BCSO with all leads or heads, I should say.
I mean, it depends on what route you want to go, right? Currently, I'm not facing that issue.
Then we'll just have an LSPD one.
Yep.
Yeah.
King.
Unless you would like some assistance from my BCSO heads, then I can get them in. But if you don't need our assistance, then there's no need for mine to be there.
Yeah. No, we'll.
I'm just wondering, like, how much
well,
of this
an
bullshit
LSPD
being
won't
fed
get
into
forward
others? Like, oh no, there's nothing wrong. Fuck the
King, you
DOJ.
wanna come over here?
Instead of actually guiding them
Yes,
on how to resolve this kind of thing.
Appreciate you coming back around on duty.
That's okay. No problem. Sorry, Radish. About it.
A nice mustache, King.
Holy
It's
fucking!
getting corrected tomorrow, so
We're just looking for clarification here. I didn't really have context when I spoke with you and Maxwell this morning, or much context.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more now. I think a few people here have some questions for you in terms of what transpired with that
Yeah.
warrant.
yeah, go ahead.
Anyone wants to open up with it?
All right, so About 3 days ago, Miller approached myself and Frost. Either what was it together, Frost, or was it separately?
Yeah, it was together. We picked him up. We were at MRPD. He came up to us. He hopped in the car. We drove around for like half an hour, right?
Yeah,
I'm aware. Yeah.
and I believe it was at the gas station originally, and then after that, he spoke to us again. And what he told us was, he was having trouble with the warrants, and he said, "What do you think about writing a warrant over possession of guns?" And I said, "Well, it depends. What's the context?" And he told us verbatim that Davenport told him after a shootout with ADMC to find a reason to raid the ADMC.
What?
Yeah. And after having heard this, I said, "Are you sure that's what's being told of you?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm looking through the reports and I'm looking to find doing what they asked me." And subsequently, we brought it up to LSPD High Command. And as a part of this conversation that just transpired here, we heard a whole bunch of other things. At which point I said, let's bring in King, and I want to understand, what actually happened, where's the problem, and if there is a problem, how do we resolve it? Yeah, understand that from our perspective, right? Hearing that if we get shot down and Miller's being instructed, according to his words, looking for a reason to raid, that's fundamentally illegal. But based on yeah.
Carry on, sorry.
Now, what it sounded like after everyone kind of weighed in here is that maybe you had instructed him, but you had instructed him very differently, right?
Yeah,
so,
there was no part of my conversation where I asked him to find a reason or anything like that. That wasn't the intent of the exercise or the situation at all.
All right.
I don't know what Davenport said, so I can't speak for Davenport. If that's something that was said, Christ, I don't know what to say to that. But that wasn't the intention of the whole thing.
So
I can go into if you like.
Yeah, no, absolutely, please.
All right. So it was like 3 or 4 days ago now. We went through the ADMC area, and I saw that there were some signs up, massive writing on pretty much every single entrance to the area. The sign said, ADMC property, cops will be shot. I was like, what the fuck is this? Freedom of speech and all that, but inciting violence against the PD, I'm not gonna stand for that. So I contacted one of them and said, what's going on here? Are these yours? Like, what's going on with that? And they said, yeah, they're ours. It's a warning. I was like, okay, interesting. Fair enough. So I start getting plans together because I want to look into them and see what's going on down there, try and figure out why the signs are there. Is there a reason that something happened with PD to make that happen, etc., etc. And then there was a 1078 call up at Michael's house after Davenport had been shot by a shotgun, which coincidentally was 2 ADMC members. During this situation, actually, after we got down to the cells, I asked them about the signs, and they said, we're just prospects, or one of them said, we're just prospects, or whatever, and that they would forward it on to Shang.
Do you notice how different this conversation is, chat?
Apparently would be interested in talking to me about it so we could figure out what was going on, why the signs were there, etc., etc. The next piece of information I hear about them was the next day after I get on duty, where a civilian was kidnapped, taken to some beach or something, and then forced to write a message to me in their own blood, which stated, I'm ready for that talk, Albert, or something like that. At the same time, there were tweets from Shang saying exactly the same thing. And on the same day, there was a situation where it's in the report, so the exact situation through Davenport's statements, but essentially it was like a traffic stop or something, or some kind of situation up in Vinewood Hills. I'm sorry, I'd have to read the report for the exact thingy, but it was who Davenport believed to be Shang. And this person walked away and then went back and then started asking about the signs. And then during that conversation, talking about the sign, this individual pulled out a gun, shot Davenport down, just, and then continued to shoot the rest of the police down, all piled them into one car and attempted to blow all of them up, but failed for whatever reason. And then there were tweets from Chorustar, again in the report, other stuff from Shang, etc. So I tasked Miller with looking into the group because I wasn't aware if we had any kind of profile up on them, any kind of gang dossier on them or whatever, what they've done previously and that all that kind of stuff. So I asked Miller, and this was kind of a task to see if he was ready for sergeant stuff. Because obviously I'd like sergeants to be able to deal with search warrant stuff pretty competently. During this, I said to him very specifically a few things. The first one was, one, I don't want him to do it on his own. It's very, very important to me that he was building a team of people and being able to delegate different tasks to different people so that he wasn't on his own. Because taking on a task like this is pretty massive. Gangs aren't easy to deal with, and doing everything on your own is a fucking nightmare. I think everybody here knows that.
This is something that he spoke about when he was with me at night. And we said the exact same thing, that he really needs support on this. And he said that he was trying to do it on his own and he had no one helping him.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay. Yeah, he said that to me as well, which I thought was interesting given the conversation that I'd had with him regarding making sure he made a team and did it with other people. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I can't remember where I was before I was saying that. Apologies. Oh, okay. So he went away, and he started looking at, I guess he was looking at reports and whatnot. He came back to me and he said, we can do search warrants on all these people. I was like, okay. So we looked at all the search warrants. One of them was sent off later in the day, which was denied for, I think, there was a gap in the dates or something.
Yeah, there,
an 11-day gap is what it said.
If
not unreasonable to us, for more information in between those days. So
yeah,
we rewrote everything. Made sure that appropriate incidents were there, along with the incidents that had happened in the past few days.
Why was it
again? And then
this is exactly
3 days for a
it.
response, and then we're told no. And I don't have the full information on that yet, so I can't give.
Okay.
Info.
All right. Okay.
So that's pretty much where we're at.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. For context, and this is what, we can talk to Miller about this. During this conversation right before you arrived, I took a look at the search warrant.
Okay.
Some of what you're indicating, right? Like the reasons for it. The problem with this warrant is that it says suspicion of what crime? It says possession of a Class 2 firearm, which means any information like they're putting on signs and they're doing this and saying that and twatting that all goes out the window, because none of those things are relevant to the crime by which the search warrant is being sought after. Right? Does that make sense so far?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
So it's not to say those things aren't relevant in terms of investigation, but they are irrelevant when it comes to the search warrant. The warrant then goes on to notate how many times the firearms are found with a 2-week gap in between. So all those other things that could be relevant would require the suspicion of crime to be expanded on something like conspiracy, for example, right? Or things in which putting up signs might, they need to be relevant for what the search warrant is being sought after. Is that making sense?
It does, yeah.
Is it not relevant? I mean, isn't that just, the sign of, so are you saying instead of a Class 1, it should have just been a firearm? Because if they're attempting to commit, if they're attempting to shoot cops, and you go for Class 2s based on the pattern of them having Class 2s in the past,
because we don't have RICO, right? Do we know who put up the sign?
No idea, but they took ownership of it, and that's why we went for them.
No, but
and
like,
again, though,
but well, hold on. This is a very important point. Who's they? ADMC, right?
Correct, yeah.
But there is no RICO.
Is that a RICO?
Yeah, because if they isn't a person, you're raiding a person.
I don't really know.
You're
at this
rating
point.
individuals within a group who is taking ownership of it, right?
If it's
Me
like,
personally, I thought there was enough to go on. That's why I said go for it after reading it. Obviously, you guys think differently. That's fine, and a DOJ do too as well. So there's obviously some stuff to learn there, but I don't know. I think having signs up saying you're going to shoot cops should constitute quite a lot of different things. But whatever.
there is a effort that is being put in to be able to go after multiple individuals within a gang, right? But as of right now, those kind of things don't really exist. And so, like, I think, like, in other words, like Shang Lu articulating, like, you know what? I think some of this might be worth tabling until and with Miller involved.
No, it's fucked. The case is over. I won't be continuing. Telling you that
Oh.
Case is fucked. As soon as
There he lifts the lockdowns, right?
Yeah, it's the lockdowns are gone. It's absolute waste of time. I'm not even remotely interested in Finley Milton. I don't even know who that is.
Oh,
I have no interaction with him whatsoever.
Wait,
where did Finley? Wait, so then where did Finley's? Where did he get mixed into this then?
It was in all the incidents with the shootouts, I suppose. I'm not really sure.
I helped Miller.
I said on the day I am most interested in Coruscant for the tweets after the shootout that happened, and Shang for the kidnapping and all the other shit.
My biggest frustration is again going back to the DOJ. We have and not a knock against Ventura,
telling
but we have
Miller to do
this thing. He went that way. Let's raid them, and then this whole thing where there's clear cut. In my opinion, I feel like it was well articulated and all this other stuff, and then we don't get the warrant signed.
Yeah, but what was the context on Ventura? They went that way. What was the context around?
I don't know. Ask Knight. I mean, it's done. It's not. And again,
the
like,
context around Ventura's warrant.
The one that
Which one?
The one that Knight said was done illegally.
Oh, the Arrow one.
The one we took to them.
That's because information was left out of that warrant. Okay, I don't want to. I don't want to open that one up, please.
Yes, it's
otherwise
not.
I'm gonna tell Frost to put a gun in my mouth.
No, it's just okay. Maybe.
All right.
I'm missing details, but whatever.
There's a very important thing that King just brought up that might be painting a clearer picture as what may have took place here. Based on what I heard in the circle, and please tell me if I'm wrong, is that it was made out to sound like it wasn't Davenport that asked Miller, but you had asked Miller, and that your representation of why it's being done was different than what Miller may have communicated. But if that is the case, if you weren't interested in Finley Milton, where the hell did Finley Milton come from? Is it possible?
No, I stated that I wasn't interested in him. It was something that came up in the report, in the reports that he was looking in. He was one of the key key individuals that was using class 2s a lot. Me personally, I didn't think there was an issue with that, but obviously there is.
I literally said this 20 minutes ago. I'm so like, can you guys hear me? Am I existing right now? Am I here? I'm sorry.
We hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I literally just said that, and I got the respectfully response. Now that King said it, it's acknowledged.
You talking about Finley Milton?
Yeah.
No, about who set the whole thing up to begin with. King, not Davenport. And another thing, let me finish. Another thing, Miller coming to you guys for help on something. You guys used to be LSPD, and he has worked with you on lots of things.
And
so
that's a
him
good
coming,
thing.
I'm okay. Let me just finish.
I'm sure about that.
I stayed quiet the entire time.
Then participate. Who told you
that it's fair that him coming to you is now this was too big for him and he should have had somebody overlooking him and like all of our faults that you're just laying out that are our problem when King gave him the project and said that told him to get a team together. Whether Miller did that or not is on him, but him coming to you should not be a bad reflection on us of what his decision making was. This was a task for Miller, not LSPD as a whole. This was something for Miller to do, to build a team, to see what he could do on his own to possibly move up to a sergeant position. That is all it is. It's not we send our people to the wolves. because we don't operate like that. And all of you standing here should freaking know that. And that's all I have to say about
don't
that.
think anyone is targeting LSPD, especially not Miller, especially not King, which is why I wanted him here. I think at the end of the day, this is not even department specific. At the end of the day, we want individual officers, Miller, King, Davenport, people in this circle, those that aren't involved in this, to succeed. And part of success is seeing where the pain points are, where things may have gone wrong, and seeing if there's a better way to go about it the next time over, right? I'm hoping that this is constructive, to be honest.
It should be constructive. And secondly, Maxwell, it wasn't what you said was ignored. This wasn't about you. This was about King because he was directly involved. And whether you verbatim quoted your conversation with King or not, it's still best to hear it directly from the horse's mouth, right?
Right. And that's why I said, can we stop the conversation until we talk to King? But that wasn't listened to either.
And now he's here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm happy to explain myself on stuff that I do. And if there's something that I've done that's wrong, then, I've done something wrong.
He should have been included in the meeting to begin with. He's a lieutenant. There's no reason he shouldn't have been spoken to before everybody's going around talking about this warrant and Shang's, pissed off and talking to Lieutenant in Shift 2 and talking to captains and BCSO and everything else. Like, we should have just pulled King aside first thing this morning and had the conversation, and that's it.
I did. I talked to him.
That's what we're doing.
I talked to him, and I wasn't able to talk to a judge, and I got off the phone with the judge, and I brought it up. And I think we did get King here in a reasonable amount of time. It didn't spiral out of control. He should have been here, but I do think it was kind of a command issue, so I did bring it up. He's here now, and just to say, I guess, solution oriented. It's like we have more context now, and
yeah,
I'm happy to come into town when if you guys need me to get on the train for something and explain something I've done or whatever. I'm very happy to do that. It doesn't really matter what time it is. So unless I'm dead or whatever.
I mean, it isn't something you've done. This isn't like a blame game conversation. It shouldn't be going in that direction at all.
It's my responsibility, sir. I put Miller on the task, and if something has gone wrong as a result, then that's my responsibility.
Well, I don't want to leave this unaddressed. King, tell me if I'm crazy here, but if you didn't ask to, like, if Finley wasn't even on your radar and you're the one who made the task, where did Finley come from? You know what I mean?
Again,
like,
I think
is that a valid question?
Yeah, no, of course it is. It's completely valid. It was something that we spoke about as well, because I said, I remember saying specifically, I only care about 2 people on that list. The other ones, not so much. But basically, I don't think Miller's done anything wrong either.
No.
I think he's done the task, or I don't think he's done anything malicious. That's my point. I think what he's done is
I'm wondering where the hell Davenport came from.
He's just put together reports in an attempt to put a raid together. I don't think he's necessarily being malicious about it, but I understand where you're coming from in that. I understand where you're coming from. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
Was Davenport being malicious?
In my opinion, no. No, Davenport and Shift 3 have been the ones bearing the brunt of this, because like that shootout and the
so
PD
Davenport probably did speak to him,
because I asked for
this
a
thing
meeting
needs
with
to be
Shaq.
looked at holistically, to be honest. But I'm over this.
Or maybe there's more to it. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Shang.
I mean, from the context of how Davenport told Miller to do it, though, that definitely isn't in good faith. We can agree on that, right?
Wait, say that again.
Well,
in the context that Davenport told Miller to do it in, we can agree that wasn't in good faith, right?
What was the exact context?
Did he actually say those words, though?
That's what he told me in Frost.
Okay,
He's
but
not
again,
here,
that's telephone.
so it
Yeah,
is
that's telephone
telephone.
again.
I do agree with that. Yeah.
I'd be shocked if Davenport said that.
There may be, just like what you're explaining right now and the way that even your words were explained earlier, there's like, one thing is said and then it turns into something else. And then the output ends up being, you know what I mean?
How many times have you said something when you're frustrated that you don't mean, you just said it in frustration that someone might have overheard and then taken it as fact?
Yeah.
It happens.
Possible. Yeah.
We need to speak with Davenport. Just see what he said in that context. In terms of what Davenport said, the only person I don't know is Davenport.
Well, if King gave him the task to do it, then why does it even matter what Davenport said?
Because supposedly Davenport told them to quote unquote look for a reason to raid, right?
Yeah, but but we're kind of eliminating that if King is saying that he gave Miller the task to do.
He didn't go into reports looking for a raid, by the way. He went into reports, like, I can see all of his notes on this stuff. He went into reports to basically put a profile up about them. And then he came to me and said,
possession of class 2
stuff. I'm like,
last 30 days.
That's great.
This is
Sounds
the
good.
reason.
Let's do that.
All of this
Again,
other
if that's
stuff
wrong,
right
and I
here doesn't
authorized
actually
anything
matter.
there, then that's on me. It's not on Miller.
This is a probable cause problem, and arguing it's like, you know, I'm gonna put it like this, chat. It's like, imagine you work at Starbucks and you don't know how to work the coffee machine.
I get it.
But you're having an argument as to how to make the coffee with the coffee machine. Okay. All right. Well,
it's frustrating. The whole thing has been really frustrating, especially with the DOJ stuff. But I'm sure there's reasoning for that. So I'm just
So how did Davenport? I guess I'm a bit confused. How did Davenport even get involved in this? If you're the one that gave the task to Miller.
Davenport was around when all this was happening. Again, it was Shift 3 that was bearing the brunt of the reaction to this from ADMC. Okay. So I wanted to make sure Davenport was aware of everything so that they could be prepared for whatever happens in early Shift 3 whenever we're not around.
Okay.
Well, on the bright side, this is the easiest of the conversations. So I hope everyone's ready.
Okay, I think that's kind of. I mean, is there any other questions about this? I feel
no,
like a lot of
think
it's just miscommunication that's been cleared up.
I will say, and I think this kind of King. I can speak to Miller tomorrow with you present. And I think had some of the stuff on this changed, it would have gone through. And even though I understand it might be too late, might be worth as a
No, I'd be very happy to hear what you think would have been better for it. I'm very, very open to stuff on that. And if there's something we could have improved, I'd rather know, because if it happens again, I want to get it right.
Absolutely. I'll keep it simple and go into detail tomorrow. The suspicion of crime tied with the statement of probable cause, they're not like aligned. So a lot of what you said is very relevant. It just doesn't tie to the suspicion. You know what I mean? But we'll deep dive that tomorrow. So
I got you. Thank you.
All right. All right. Cool.
Thanks for coming in there, King. Appreciate it.
All good.
This.
What do you guys
chat? The problem is you can't just say position of class 2, and then be like, "Yo, by the way, we found a gun, but then not another one." You already literally are proving you have reasonable suspicion.
Next subject.
Next subject is meth.
I think we should. That's gonna take. I think we should. I think that should be last.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
I think it's gonna be a pretty quick one.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. Fuck it. Let's do it then.
So essentially, the other day, I
Thank
turned up
God.
to the BCSO. Inside the BCSO was Opal Price and Doc Masters dressed in hazmat suits with black gas masks. I asked them what they were doing while they were at the BCSO. They were being very giddy, sort of giggling, like talking to me with like a jokey tone, as in like, "Oh, we're not doing nothing," kind of like joking about being suspicious, if you will. Then Doc Masters puts up this report, which is now in the High Command report, of the meth production requirements, how to set it up, cooking it with times. And in the photos, there is, of course, Doc and Opal, who I had seen prior dressed like this, cooking on the table.
It does, Snow. It's like such extreme telephone that I don't even. I'm glad we pulled you in. I knew it was something in between, but it's just like,
in the dosage,
let's just bring everyone in and just talk about it so we can fix and move forward. That's why Knight was crashing out earlier.
Let me get it open so I don't misword it.
Because of the telephone.
In the dosage legislation, it quotes, so drug scheduling and regulation. This is how you would make a drug illegal, for example. Any drugs discovered must be brought to the SAMG doctors for trials and research. upon discovering a new drug, law enforcement agencies, LSPD, BCSO, SASM, must document the discovery, provide a sample, document the sample size, and then through testing, human trials, and consent under the Doctor Act, that is how they will deem if the drug is...
It is what it is, yeah. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It's when it like, it's like, oh, wait. Well,
But
get your popcorn out. This is about to get
here
spicy.
Is Doc and Opal, after discovering samples during the KJ raid, where the DOJ said that they were allowed to keep some of that
Oh,
meth.
boy. I hope I don't have to be the one explaining this one.
Meth.
Who was allowed to keep some meth?
I don't know who it was who did the raid.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
one
sure
out of
it
multiple
had to get
bags
handed
was kept.
One was kept for I can speak specifically on it.
Yeah.
One was kept for Zama. For the San Andreas Medical Group was given to them. 10 were given back. I think it was 11
exactly
total.
right. So one was kept on discovery.
Let's confirm then.
Yeah. So one was kept on discovery, as the legislation states, and then post.
Bro, yeah,
that,
I hated that conversation. I'd explained to 3 separate people yesterday
for Sama.
And I was being made out to be like the weirdo. I'm like, how the fuck else are we going to talk
meth
about this?
For Sama. It was for Sama, you're saying? So they were told to do it by Sama.
This is what we don't know, right? And this is what we're here to discuss.
Well, if I may.
Yeah, you can. That's pretty much the context I've got. Knight's looked into this further,
yeah.
So you can take over, Knight.
I popped open, looking at reports yesterday morning, just so everyone's aware what report is being referred to. Has everyone here taken a look at the high command emails? I want to just like show of hands, and if you have not, let's start with that. Like, because, okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I think that's an important starting point. So such that this conversation doesn't drift in a like, you know what I mean.
I'm going to be honest. We could just drive it straight home to the point here.
Okay.
All right. So what'd you find? What are we at? What are we dealing with?
So hold on. Let me pull this up here so we all have the reference. Boop boop boo. 80 high command reports. Here we go. It's report number 30247. So I saw this at the top of the investigative tab. I opened it up and I immediately made it a PD high command report, put a note at the top, then notified high command by the email. I don't know what the fuck this is. Looking at the photographs that are in here, it looks like the police department, members of the police department alongside Sama cooked meth for God knows what reason. The first problem that comes up is, why does Sama think they need to cook meth in order to analyze whether or not, it has health hazards to then make it illegal? So that's the first issue.
Well, especially considering they already had a bag of meth.
Correct. Like, I don't think you need a medical license to know that isn't necessary. You would test it with animals or chemistry or whatever the hell. You don't need to cook it. The second is that meth can be produced, and once again, you could watch Breaking Bad or any, just turn on the news or whatever, is that there wouldn't ever be a one particular way to make meth, right? It could be with some of the tools we may or may not be aware of. It might be other methodologies, including but not limited to a lab, in a house, in a building, in a business, whatever kind of way. So once again, the need to cook it, once again, don't make no sense. Now then comes the next issue, which is we had members of law enforcement who were present, as can be seen in the photographs. And while I could understand to a degree to observe, why then is this report being generated I don't even know how to make sense of this, but my immediate reaction is I would not want anyone who thinks that this is okay, anywhere near investigations. Because if this was a cadet or an officer, I could at least understand it. But a supervisor, this is cooked. Pardon my pun. So there we go.
Well, I mean, this shouldn't have happened. I have no idea what Doc was doing. I have no idea why he did it. In fact, he even asked me and I told him no beforehand. But he will be dealt with very swiftly by myself.
Okay.
In terms of Opal, I wasn't aware that she was involved. I gotta see. I gotta get both their sides here.
Yeah, you do, because although I saw them both in these exact outfits, obviously I didn't follow them or confirm them cooking on a table, right? So they could have been doing something else. But they were in these outfits and they are both photoed in this report, right? Well, assuming they're photoed in this report. Again, you will have to actually get their side, as I can only speculate from what I've physically saw at the BCSO. I can't 100% confirm that Opal was cooking meth, right? But I can 100% confirm that I did see her in the exact same outfit as these photos.
We'll I'll have a chat with them. We'll sort that out.
All right. Okay. Well, shit. All right. Okay.
That is
well,
such
shit.
a crazy thing to hear out loud. Just saying.
Which part?
The
thing?
I can't confirm if they were cooking meth. Like, it's just fucking crazy to hear.
It is crazy.
It is. It is.
So I'm going to. I don't see a reasoning. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I want to hear from them first here. Okay. Yeah, this will get addressed.
For me, it's not
can't.
just the cooking meth there, Turner. It's this documentation, right?
Oh, the documentation, absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, this is going to get dealt with here.
Okay.
The,
All right. Hell yeah. Let's move on then, please.
Yeah, no, let's move
I had to
on.
fucking
I already
explain
have
this
my-
shit 3 times over, and
I
once
don't need to
again,
explain it.
Yeah.
just
Thank you.
a quick note that I would like to add. I know we've addressed it. But
I was
as you can
dying
see,
yesterday.
they've
While
obviously
Peter
spoke
is
about
like,
the time
how
that
do
it
you?
takes to cook.
But the worst part was
Oh,
it
God, can we not
is
go
like,
there?
thank God Turner's
If you
like,
look
let's move on.
again,
Whereas
it says the
literally,
estimated time
we
to prep
cannot do
table
this
use, 1.5 to 2
explicitly.
hours.
And I
That
had to, I was
implies to
getting
me that they
pushback like,
cooked twice.
but maybe there's a reason and blah, blah, blah.
Moving
And I'm
on.
like, are you
dealing
making,
with it,
you're literally putting me in a
I am.
position
Cooked twice.
I'm
where I have to
Two
say
bags of
some
meth. We
weird
don't
shit
need to-
back.
I mean, if you keep reading, 15 bags come from each one. But anyways.
Hiring.
Remember when I had to email
Are we
NNS
freezing hiring?
after Nino
That's-
found
that's-
out?
No, that's been
I
with-
emailed
That's been
NNS
great.
and I'm like, someone's
We
going to
lifted-
do
we
some weird
lifted
shit,
Hiring?
I'm sorry,
right?
hiring.
And they're
I'll
not going to know
transfers.
any better.
No, hiring.
Hiring.
When you buy a
Standards.
table,
You
it
wanna look
should
at
be
standards.
not
Improving standards
obvious.
across the board instead of continuing
Little did I
hiring.
even
Yeah, that's
expect,
one thing I
and
wanna
holy
talk about,
fuck,
yes.
holy fucking
Go for it.
premonition.
I
Right?
just noticed.
Holy
there's no-
fucking
listen,
premonition.
I'm guilty of it too. I'm not
That
gonna
was a weekend.
fucking
That
beat
was
around
when
the
I was
bush,
on
but I
Nino,
think,
and remember we were like,
what
what the
ends up
fuck is
happening
this?
things just
And
have
I
been
immediately
on
was
a
like, yo,
downward spiral
FYI,
as of
someone
recent.
like is going to tie it together.
And I think that
Little
it
did I think
starts
like a
from the
week and a
top
half later,
down.
there'd be a report
And-
that
and
is
I'm not pointing any fingers.
30
Anyone could
seconds,
point a
45,
finger,
like,
it would
what
be
the
at me. But
fuck?
that being said, I think what needs to happen is we need to tighten up. I mean, anything from like units attaching to, I mean, vehicles being flagged and then not being pulled over, to suspects wearing the same exact thing in a robbery, to not being detained and frisked.
this doesn't
And I think,
make
I
the
think ultimately
individuals
what's
bad
happened is,
people or
I don't know
doing
if it's
something
frequency of calls
wrong.
or people
It
just
really
have
comes
ping rot or
down
what it
to
is, but I think
supervision needs
one
to
of
be
the things we
done
can do
that
is kinda
for
shut down
those that
hiring
can
right
keep
now
people
and
in line.
just reiterate to the
That the
officers
moment they
what we're
get
looking for,
smell
what we
of
wanna
it, you're
see,
like, no,
and
we can't
make
do
sure
that.
People are doing
Here's the
that.
role play reason why
So
you
I
can't.
think
So that they can
the
go and
best
investigate
solution,
and
it
do,
could be wrong,
go to
obviously,
their
this
full
isn't ideal,
brunt.
but I think
But
we
you
kind
have
of,
supervisors that need to be
shut
like,
down the hiring
no,
for the time
you
being
need the
and
person that can say no.
explain what our expectations are to officers in the lower ranks.
I think
That way,
we need
Because
to set those
boundaries aren't
expectations,
going
not
to
just
be
explain it.
understood by
Yes.
everyone.
yes, you're 100% right.
And then on top of that,
And it's just the reality, right?
I think we need to standardize requirements for becoming a PPO.
And I think
and
that's a
becoming
clear
a
thing to
full
say
officer.
that those that played these
Everyone needs to hit the
characters,
exact same check marks.
you know,
It's more of an
mistakes
LSPD thing.
happen,
I didn't
right?
think,
But what it does
obviously
indicate
you
is
guys
that
do
they
things
should not
how
be
you
in a
want, but-
supervisory role. They
I mean, we
need
have definitely
somebody
changed them
to
hiring
keep
at the
them
minute.
in line so they do not cross
High
these
Command-
boundaries. Because it
it's strictly
fucks
to High Command and the
everybody.
BCSO. High
Yep.
Command will
This
also be leading
speed
PNT,
runs, whether
and we
it's
are on the
like they're
same
not,
agreement that
like
it
investigations for
definitely comes
every
down to quality,
cop.
not quantity.
Because it says, well, we already solved
we
the
are
mystery
very
because we
much
cooked it ourselves. What about the, you know,
getting a lot
everyone
stricter
else? Like,
in
oh,
terms
when
of
they
our
get a
hiring
bag, it's
process.
like, or they get a
We aren't
CI,
putting it
or
on
you
a
get an
freeze. We are
interrogation.
hiring.
All
We
that
need
goes
to-
away.
We do need
It's like, oh, we don't need to know any of
deputies,
this. We know this
but
already.
we are
There's a block.
definitely getting a lot harder on it.
We spent 3 months learning about weed, and that was great RP
cadets, and that's enough.
for
and we have
everybody.
enough officers.
This just
Hopefully with
skips
the
it
shift
all.
From people coming from shift 1, shift 2, shift 1. So shift 1 is paused.
Because this is
in
a
the future,
criminal mechanic.
and our
It should be
cadets will
obvious.
be staying a minimum of 30 days before they can even think about going any further on in the process.
Yeah, for shift 2, I spoke with Lieutenant York last night about this, and I agree. We didn't bring up a hiring freeze, but I'm not against it either. We did talk about how there have been some folks recently we've come across, even people who've made it to full officer, that have lacked knowledge that they should not lack at full officer level. And they've said things that are kind of eye-raising. Retraining, raising those standards has also been something that Ruby and I have talked about doing on shift 2. So I would not be against that.
That's good. That's also another thing that we have started enforcing. If officers aren't able to articulate at the standard that we expect, or explain RS and PC as they should, if you have slipped through the cracks, and as we all know, people do use cheat sheets. We are, for example, we have a deputy at the minute who he has retained his rank, but he is being re-FTO'd. So that's another thing that we are getting on top of too.
Yeah, I honestly, we as high command in law enforcement need to create a standard that we want. Points that need to be hit for becoming a PPO to go solo, and points to become a full officer. And if that requires us to put some sort of questionnaire out for people, the problem is people cheat on it, but you could tell when they're out in the field. You know, we need to make sure that everybody's held the same standard to get the badge.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's something that at least I can speak for, at least when it comes to LSPD. I feel like each shift has their own standards.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that isn't completely too wild. And the reason I say that is because each shift has different things they focus on, different challenges they have. But the basics that we need, the fundamentals need to be there. The fundamentals absolutely need to be there. And I think that's what I want to make sure that we're hitting, and people are able to hit. So creating, I believe we have a checklist. I think Shift 3 made one, the checklist that we use for PPO or FTO. It's actually a good checklist. I think it needs to be expanded on slightly in some areas, but I think that checklist is great, and having that as a requirement across the board for all shifts, at least I can speak for LSPD, is something I'd like to see.
No, I'm in agreement on standards being set, and this is something that I've spoke about previously, and I would like you guys to let me know. Obviously, it's not a problem for me if you don't want this both ways, but you're right. As High Command, we can't be everywhere. We can't see everything, and there is a lot of things that we might miss that people below us might not necessarily see as a problem. And if any of you guys do ever see my command or deputies, and you don't think that they are at the standard in terms of articulation, or you see them on a scene, they clearly don't understand a certain case law, I would beg for you guys to let me know so that I can speak to them and fix it. I wouldn't take it personally. I wouldn't take it as you're trying to target my deputies. It is genuinely for the betterment of my department. If you see anyone in my department doing stupid things or not understanding case laws or anything correctly, I would love for you to let me know.
Yep. Okay.
I like the idea of a hiring freeze that'll allow P&T to kind of reel it back in a little bit and allow us to work with them as well, because obviously a checklist is good. We can have that checklist, but if the checklist is being treated as subjective, right? What is the end goal of that check mark box? If that's a different goal for each FTO, that's another problem with standards. So allowing PNT to not focus on trying to hire everyone. I know, for example, right now Shift 2 has, I think, 3 applicants for the LSPD. We've pretty much processed almost everyone.
We're only talking about
so we need to make who we have better on the shift and across the board in a standard that they can actually easily follow and can be articulated from us in high command and command as well. And that'll give us kind of time to let PNT focus on those people who are just wrapping up the start of their career, getting those standards set into those people before they even hit the street, as well as kind of get uniform, at least on Shift 2. So
to be clear, I think we need to be retraining PNT also.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
Instructing PNT.
I agree.
We need to make sure that our command staff from top down has the same exact perspective. So starting from us, go ahead, Maxwell.
I think that command needs to be retrained in some areas, to be
I
honest.
agree.
There's a lot of command
apparently
that
I
can't even
agree.
articulate gang-related shooting. They can't. I've never seen them write a subpoena or a search warrant, and I think that's a huge red flag.
I feel like that's one indivial in particular. Let's be honest. I don't know if a lot of command.
There are a few people. I know that Bradford doesn't do them. I know Chaos handed over a case because he wasn't comfortable doing it. It's just like, it seems like it's a constant thing where they're not confident. It could be because they're not usually taking 95s and explaining and articulating things. That could be what it is, because I notice in our shift as well that there's certain people that just kind of hang around and don't take 95s. And when I'm about to say something, all of a sudden, what do you know? They're taking a 95. I think certain people avoid it because they aren't comfortable articulating charges and they get stressed out when they're dealing with it in the cells.
So how do we go about making sure that our command is comfortable?
Well, I think Maxwell's point is great. I was going to say something similar too. I genuinely just think it comes down to a lot of the things that we speak to our command about as high command is their specific roles as command. I don't think it would cause any harm for us necessarily to spend time with our command on patrol and do kind of like a back to basics with them, just to refresh and retrain them on the basics. Because obviously we're always on them. Make sure that the unit numbers are correct on scenes. Make sure you do this. It's always very command related. Going out with them and simply watching them use case laws, process 95s, wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I think that would be great, because how often do you speak to the basics with your command, right? You don't, because you expect them to know that because you command. But everyone, regardless of what you're doing, needs refreshers in life, right?
The hiring freeze, is this for across the board or shift 1?
I think shift 1's decent. I think shift.
Yeah.
I think. I
just wanted the clarity because I know shift 2's.
I don't believe there is a freeze. I've asked the chief multiple times and he said there's no freeze. So if that's
a freeze
changed,
for what?
Hiring.
No, that's what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a freeze?
I mean, I think
And there's nothing
we have numbers
planned
right now,
that
right?
I'm aware of.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about now.
So for the BCSO, we're frozen shift 1.
But this is for shift 1, right?
We have not
that we're
frozen
currently
shift
talking
2 or
about?
3. That's what the BCSO has done now.
All right. So
shift 2 and 3 it is fully open. Shift 1 we have frozen. We've got 3 cadets. They're getting full focus. Once we've got those fully trained up and ready, we will look into shift 1 again. But for now, we're keeping it at that. Obviously, shift 2, I know for a fact that you need deputies in that shift, and we will help wherever we can. And I'm sure Stevie from shift 1 will help aid shift 2 where necessary.
Yep.
So
now I understand why what King was saying was misconstrued.
We just got a new PNT lead in Sergeant Gray. Ruby's helping to mentor him and help him fill that role since she was already doing that and was very good at it. Like I said, we have 3 candidates on the roster right this minute as far as applications submitted for shift 2 and LSPD. I'd be comfortable, and I think it would be a good idea to probably freeze hiring for shift 2 right now and let PNT get that mentorship, get that training, retraining, whatever we need to do, and focus them up for an effort and maybe let some applications roll in, let it stack up for a month and maybe have enough for an academy. But in that time, this would be a good time to make progress on shift 2 with PNT.
Also, Bradford's got to go as sergeant. We could talk about that later. I don't think.
Well, I mean, it's between all of us here. This is high command. I mean, we should be able to talk about anything on any shift. Honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if it's our own people, it needs to be our department. That would make sense to me.
Well, I just want to keep things that are joint that we as law enforcement can work towards, and we can meet after here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm done with the free. I don't mind a freeze. I don't care. That means Peter's no more Nepo hires for now. Maybe in a month or a couple weeks. Whatever you guys say is fine. I don't care. I'm fine with that. I just think that with the training, we also need to focus on command because, again, I want if I don't have people below me that know what they're doing, I can't depend on them to assist the other officers. And I am overwhelmed by constantly stepping in every single situation because people don't know how to do certain things. So
is this stuff command could have stepped in on?
Yes.
Okay, so
when they want to hire up, it should be a sergeant.
I don't think we got this problem in Blaine County. I just say Octo do this, Maeve do that.
Can't say the same things that I'm
Romello
saying.
do this. Let me know how it goes.
And stand up. I feel
You
like
gotta
when they
delegate.
get in the cells and these guys start
And when there's
talking,
an issue, you gotta willing to tell them no.
This and how is it gang related? We didn't even blow the back of the truck door open. How is it a bank truck? Like, all of a sudden we just shrivel up and then it's like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And we want to remove all the charges because we're not confident. We don't know how to articulate what the hell's going on.
Dice is good.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about that we need to.
But to be fair, that's why
make sure that they're at a standard. Because if they're not at a standard, then the people below them won't be held to any sort of standard. It's across
the board too. It's not just one or two. Yes, in the last few days, yes, it's been one or two people, but
so we need to figure out
across the board. I think in general, I was never trained on how to do a search warrant or a subpoena in the ranks that I've gone to. Nobody above me has trained me how to do any of that shit, sir.
Which we now have that part of our training, no? Now.
Right, but command never got trained initially.
All right, so we need to create a program quickly too, fairly quickly, before the end of this week here. We need to have a program in place that's going to allow us to retrain our command and expectations of PPOs, officers, and we just bring that down the ranks. I'm going to get a copy of that. How do we have? We don't have any sort of command training anymore, do we?
There is right? So there's the command handbook, but it strictly talks about command stuff, right?
That's what it should be. Is strictly things that would be on command. How up to date is that command book?
I think a lot of command don't even know it exists. That means anything, and I'm just telling you what somebody else mentioned to me. I didn't even know we had a command book.
Let's look at that command book. Let's get it up to date as to our expectations. Let's set up some a program where we can evaluate our command units, and I guess we need to start riding with them. I guess that's probably just me who hasn't.
Well, another thing that we could do. Again, you guys don't have to do this. Remember, like the training Tuesdays I used to do, online search warrants and shit. Why don't we try and get our command, like our sergeants, like get one sergeant
no one's gonna do that,
training
brother.
course on search warrants on a Tuesday, get another one to do training on arrest warrants on a Thursday. Not only will
sergeants need passion to achieve on their own,
aren't fully up to
and
speed
not
on it,
be given sergeant simply because they can lead a scene
to make sure that they fully understand it, because they have to train it, right? And they don't.
That's what a senior can do.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
So that could be a good thing to do. I feel like that benefits everyone. It benefits command. It benefits our deputies. It benefits us because everyone underneath us is improving, and it also gives them a task. And
but it depends on your perspective, like,
and it also shows us the motivation.
IRL, a sergeant's like the people that come in and make sure shit's going right.
Seniors too, right?
They don't even need to command a scene necessarily.
Get your command to do an arrest warrant training. Everyone stay behind. It's mandatory.
Those
quick
kind of
15,
sergeants
20
we
minute
have,
training,
I feel
boom.
are like
I think
forced
that would
into
be a net
believing that they
positive
need to
in
lead
every
a scene
aspect.
too, which gets a little muddy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm for that as long as those sergeants are teaching properly, right?
Yeah.
Look, this can't be on one or two of us. It has
No,
to, we
we-
have to be able to spread the load.
Yeah.
What we need to do is train
He's
our
right.
upper echelon of command, make sure we're all on the same page, and then drop down a rank and train that echelon.
Ain't you
That
wrong?
echelon needs to
Ain't you
work
wrong?
with us. We will help them, obviously, but to train the next rank down below, right? It can't be on one or two people's shoulders. They're going to burn out. So working our way down and then getting sergeants on the
Working
same
our way
page and having them
downtown,
train
na, na, na,
seniors and
na,
officers
na,
at
na, na,
meetings
na.
and whatnot is a way to do it.
I mean, the thing is, the way that we could do, my suggestion without getting burnt out, task your lieutenant with choosing 2 sergeants a week until all sergeants are covered. Make your lieutenant be involved and be there for the training to make sure that they are teaching
Of course.
correctly.
Of
Then
course.
if they're not,
I mean, we're all
pass it
going to
up
be
the
there
chain,
too.
right? Yeah,
We're going to
will
be at a lot of these meetings as well. So let's start from the top down. I'm going to put together a list, and then I'll bring it to LSP's high command to see what you all think about the list.
Mhm.
We go from there.
Could I ask, do we have a list of what the shift 3 like cadet MPPO checklist is? We have that.
It's
That
in
would be
the
in.
FTO reports. Every
Yeah.
FTO
Perfect.
report.
Or
the
is it
final
just that
eval.
one? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and it is used across the shifts.
How
My
do we
lab
all?
Okay,
Ruby
so it's
uses
the
that
same
as
one.
well.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to throw a curveball into this conversation. Shift 3 is very unified. We all know that. They are just one big team. It's very interdepartmental. How do we all feel about having a Shift 3 high command, regardless of which department they're in? Just one. Do we think
I
it's
went and spent
needed?
some time over there. I don't think it's needed. I don't think there needs to be a high command member over there. If I'm going to be honest.
Why is that?
Mm.
There isn't
Just out of
enough
interest,
that
I don't
warrants
know.
it. There are some situations where currently with our current SOPs, because we have high command in other shifts, it can approve certain
You
things.
know, that's
but
what
I don't
Brian
believe that
said
shift
back
is
in
required to
DPD
have a
back
high
in the
command
day.
member. I don't. I think shift leads, lieutenants are essentially all that's needed. They just need to be able to make calls for things that high command would.
Do you have a Shift 3 lieutenant?
Yes, Maple.
Oh, of course. Yes.
What was that?
What was what?
Well, you said that.
Oh, no. I was mad at myself for forgetting about Maple. No, I think he's
Okay.
great. Okay.